In the spring of 1970, a 20-year-old man was on the run from the Japanese authorities when his plot of robbing the Hiroshima post office was foiled. After escaping for almost 24 hours, the incident culminated in the young man, armed with a hunting rifle, hijacking a ferry in Hiroshima harbor, taking 37 people hostage. At this point, the media was already involved, following the perpetrator every step of the way, and they were broadcasting live to Japanese audiences when police officers, for the first time in post-war Japan, used firearms to end a hostage situation. But let's rewind a bit. This is the 1970 Setouchi Seajack incident. On May 11, 1970, 20-year-old Nobuhisa Kawafuji and two underage friends were using a stolen car to drive from Fukuoka to Hiroshima. Kawafuji had the vague plan of raiding the Hiroshima post office for money and then escape to Osaka. The group was armed with a hunting rifle, but didn't really have any concrete idea on how to pull any of this off. And on their way, they ended up committing a traffic violation, for which they were stopped by a police patrol car near what is now Sanyo Onoda, Yamaguchi Prefecture. The police took them to the next station, but upon arrival, one of Kawafuji's underage friends stabbed a police officer and was immediately arrested, while the other two were miraculously able to escape. First, they made their way to Ube City using another stolen car, and then to Yokogawa Station using the Sanyo main line. There, they were able to set up camp in the mountains of Hiroshima and get some rest. And I say rest because, incredibly enough, Kawafuji did not want to use the opportunity to try and go into hiding or escape, but rather continue on with his plan of robbing the Hiroshima post office. At this point, the police were frantically searching for the culprit and the media got involved. With one police officer recovering from a stabbing wound and one juvenile arrested, the public was informed about the danger Kawafuji posed and that he was most likely armed. And it didn't take long for someone to spot him, as immediately the next morning, a patrol officer confronted him, when he and his accomplice were found riding on a K-truck of a local gas company. However, the single-armed police officer who confronted him was forced to surrender his pistol when Kawafuji threatened to shoot the driver of the truck. Using this hostage, Kawafuji was able to escape, but after a short fight, the police managed to arrest his young accomplice. With Kawafuji now being completely alone, his behavior became increasingly erratic. After escaping to the city's center, he robbed a gun store that was in the direct vicinity of the Hiroshima police headquarters and was able to make it out with 3 more guns and a large amount of ammunition. And not only did he get away with this, but he was even able to take a taxi and pass a police roadblock undetected. His destination, Hiroshima harbor. There, Kawafuji wasted no time. Immediately, he started firing indiscriminately into a group of people and made it on board the ferry boat Prince. He threatened the captain and forced him to take the ship to, quote, any large city. With 37 passengers and 9 crew members, this is exactly what the captain did, and the police, well, they just watched the events unfold. What followed were hours of aimless steering, but unfortunately for our culprit, at every port the boat visited, the police and press were already present. This, for example, is a TV news recording from Matsuyama, later that same night. At some point he let the passengers go, but not the crew and certainly not the captain, who actually became something of a negotiator and later told the police that he got the impression Kawafuji wanted to die in a shootout. Well, his wish was granted at 9:52 the next morning, when the ferry stopped at Hiroshima port again and a barrage of police and press were already waiting for him. He was armed to the teeth, his behavior unpredictable and tensions at their peak. Then Kawafuji shouted something towards the police when a sniper waiting on a breakwater took a shot. Kawafuji collapsed immediately and police began rushing on board after what was later deemed the first usage of firearms to end a hostage situation in post-war Japan. On these TV recordings right here, you can actually see them carrying Kawafuji to an ambulance. However, help came too late and at 11:25 he was pronounced dead at Hiroshima Prefectural Hospital. Miraculously, no one else died and our perpetrator would remain the only fatality during the Setouchi Seajack incident. It may surprise some viewers, especially those who also heard about the Gladbeck hostage crisis, that the police was not primarily criticized for their indecisiveness or their failure to apprehend the perpetrator sooner, but rather for killing him through what was deemed excessive force. The police of course argued that the sniper tried to only immobilize the perpetrator by shooting his arm, but by accident the bullet went through his chest instead. Ultimately, the Hiroshima District Public Prosecutor's Office decided against prosecuting the sniper in question, as his actions fell under paragraph 7 of the Police Duties Execution Act, allowing the police to use firearms under very specific conditions. And yet, the event remains as a dark moment in the history of a nation that has to this very day seen very little gun violence, even by the police. Alright guys, thanks for watching. This one is a bit short, but after all these years, the OHO signal finally has a Japanese themed video. Did you know that the OHO stands for Omoshiroi Hanashi Oji-san? Well, you do now, and I sure hope it was omoshiroi enough. See you next time, or as we say in Japan, Arrivederci!